How to handle difficult family members. The fact that you cannot choose your family implies that you may be forced to cope with challenging relatives. If so, you'll need to understand how to communicate with them without going insane. Keep your cool and be firm when dealing with your challenging family. Then, adopt tactics to improve interactions with them. When it's vital to preserve your sanity, it can also be beneficial to keep your distance from them. Technique 1: Avoiding challenges. Remain composed. Family members may have a knack for making you feel uncomfortable. But if you do that, you might blow up and make matters worse. When problems emerge, learn to control your emotions. Recognize when you start to feel irritable or impatient. When you are feeling provoked, get some fresh air, count to 100, or do some deep breathing exercises. 2. Use I statements to be aggressive. Practice being forceful while dealing with challenging family members to prevent being railroaded. Use as few words as possible to express what has to be said. Employ I statements that let you own your emotions and make requests for what you need without making the other person defensive. You might say, "I don't enjoy when you speak for me," for instance. "Please let me respond to the questions on my own." 3. Refuse to feel guilty. Family members who are difficult to live with frequently resort to guilt tripping. Making you feel guilty in order to influence your choices is an example of emotional abuse. You are not required to fall for the trap. Say your aunt tries to make you feel guilty by stating, "Oh, I've come all this way. I had hoped that at the very least, you would let me pick the cuisine for the gathering." You could reply, "Aunt Margaret, don't attempt to make me feel guilty. You can choose one of the dinners and the dessert. The remaining items on the menu will be put to a group vote." 4. Pay attention to what they are saying. Have you given your challenging family member your undivided attention? People occasionally only want to be heard. However, it's possible that some of what the speaker is saying is accurate. Making an effort to pay attention to what they are saying could make them feel heard and help you resolve a misunderstanding. You might be ignoring what your family member has to say if they have a reputation for being tough out of habit. Give them some time to speak. Consider their potential perspective and whether any part of what they are saying is accurate. 5. Give them total freedom in a single location. Some family members will make things more difficult because they fervently want to feel engaged. Give your troublesome relative a position over which they have total control. Offering them something to do could keep them occupied and out of your hair. For instance, if your cousin watches others cook and complains, ask them to arrange the table and clean up the sitting area. Technique 2: Increasing communication with them. 1. Give up trying to alter them. Although accepting your challenging relative will be difficult, you must do so. This entails letting go of the illusion that they will appear at some point and be a total breeze to deal with. Embrace them for who they are and the challenges that come with interacting with them. Empathy training is one way to do this. Even if you don't entirely agree with it, refrain from passing judgment and show respect for who they are as a person. Dealing with them might not seem like such a hardship once you learn to accept them. 2. Look for the positives in them. Relatives with a terrible reputation are difficult. When they arrive, everyone begins complaining aloud about their flaws. You won't notice the positive aspects if you only concentrate on the negative ones. Even the most dreadful family members have a redeeming quality. Try to locate it. Does your grumpy Uncle Charlie have a wife who is as sweet as honey, for example? There must be something admirable in him if he picked her. Perhaps there is a soft spot below the surface. Perhaps if you spend more time with him, you'll realize it. 3. Make plans for a nice exchange. By establishing an intention, you can alter how you communicate with a challenging relative. Before you're scheduled to see them, promise yourself that you'll have a simple, enjoyable conversation. By doing this, your mind might come up with ideas for how to make that happen. For instance, tell yourself, today's lunch with my in-laws will be satisfying. After that, come up with some ideas for how to make the meeting satisfying. Perhaps you could come up with a few neutral conversational topics or create a positive affirmation to recite if things start to go south. 4. Engage in proactive self-care. Family members who are challenging can be very draining. It's possible that they use up all of your energy, leaving you with little left over to take care of yourself. By taking care of your needs before dealing with them, you can avoid that issue. For instance, if you are expected to spend the weekend with family, schedule a day of relaxation at the spa before you depart. Make sure you are consuming wholesome foods and getting enough rest. Make time during your trips if you can for self-care as well. Schedule a relaxed outing on your own, for instance, if you're spending a week with your family. You can unwind and clear your mind by even taking a quick walk around the neighborhood. Technique 3. Increasing your distance. 1. Set and enforce boundaries. When the going gets tough, you have to protect yourself. Enforce your personal limits if a challenging relative becomes too much to bear. The restrictions you place on others to safeguard your own health and well-being are known as boundaries. Inform your relative that you need some space and that they are stepping over certain bounds. Say something along the lines of, "Uncle Ralph, phone me before you drop by for a visit. I always like seeing you, but I need advance warning because it's not always a suitable time for me to have friends over." 2. Take a stand for yourself. You will have to assert yourself if your challenging relatives keep crossing your boundaries. Based on your boundaries, you might choose to articulate your constraints to a challenging family member for the first time. For instance, perhaps a relative is expecting too much of you. You may state, "I'm doing my best, Aunt Lisa. Just take a step back and give me the space to address this." Micromanagement simply makes things worse for both of us. 3. Take a vacation from your family time. You can want to take a few days off if your family members are starting to annoy you. If this is what you need to do to manage stress or reduce conflict, it is quite fine. Give your family a heads up by stating something like, "For me, everything is getting a little too much. I require a rest. To get my mind off things, I'm spending the weekend back in the city." 4. Find some family members to support you. It may be helpful to seek out to other family members if you feel isolated while dealing with a challenging relative. You can exchange ideas with one another and come up with more practical solutions to the problems by building alliances. Also, you won't feel alone if you know that someone else shares your feelings. For instance, mention to your sibling, "I'm going to need some help this weekend while I cope with Cousin Harriet. Would you mind backing me up?" 5. Seek assistance from outsiders. No one is able to comprehend a family's dysfunction better than its members. Yet occasionally, it's beneficial to leave the family to express your annoyances or to simply distract yourself. Also, those from outside the family may view the situation more objectively. When you need to unwind, rely on your closest buddies. During your family reunion, invite your best friend to go out for drinks. You'll look forward to being away and having an objective person to chat to. 6. Cut ties if necessary. There may be no other option if troublesome family members are endangering your mental health and well-being except to completely cease ties with them. It might take over your life if you worry or try to solve your family members' concerns for too long. The problematic person may be fully cut off from your life, or you may simply decide to stop allowing yourself to become entangled in the mayhem they stir up. For instance, if a member of your family is addicted to drugs but won't seek treatment, you could say, "I'm sorry, but my family and I need some space from you. My children shouldn't be in this setting." Select the breaking ties option that best fits your circumstance, then let everyone know what you want to happen. You don't have to break up communication completely. Sometimes all a relationship needs to achieve equilibrium is a little space and time. We have reached the end of this video. I hope that it gives you tools to handle conflictive family situations and that you can have a good quality of life. I wish the best for you and your loved ones. Thank you so much.